Hi, people. Middle of the day. I'm usually not on here in the middle of the day. Had to hop on. Student loan changes, some updates that you should know about. So I'm going to give people a couple of minutes to hop on, and we're going to get right into what's going on. We have some dates coming up in about a month from now. October 31st is the date. We have dates December 31st. We have some dates you need to be saving in the date, marking your calendar so that you don't miss out on these things. Of course, I've been talking about it since last year for some of the stuff. And if some of you guys waited to the last minute, that's fine. I just don't want you guys to miss the deadline for some things that could be standing between you and six-figure debt. So we're going to talk about all that. I'm going to share the screen because this is in response to, questions I've received about the process, the forms, what do you do, all those things. So there's been some changes with the student loan services, even for me. So I'm going to kind of walk you through that and what you need to do going forward with the new student loan servicer. So we're going to get this all packed into this short live. Hopefully, if you're on the replay gang, it provides some help for you. Even if you can ask me questions directly, you can leave it in the comment section. And as usual, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We have plenty of other student loan videos. We have a whole student loan playlist. So check that out. Hit the thumbs up button right now because I'm going to give you some good, useful information. Hit the thumbs up button. What it does is sends it out to the YouTube algorithm. It recommends it to other people and also helps the channel so that we can grow and keep giving you guys good information. All right, so now that we got the housekeeping out the way, I'm going to hop right into the first date that you should be having on your calendar. If you are a government worker, that could be local government, state government, federal government worker, work for any kind of government, or a nonprofit, you would tune your ears up because you may qualify for loan forgiveness. This is separate and apart from the student loan forgiveness that is capped with the income and amount that Biden just introduced last month. This is not part of that. In this particular public service loan forgiveness program, there's no income cap. There's no cap on the amount that you can have forgiven. So you need to tune in for this. I'm going to share my screen so that you can see who qualifies, what the requirements are. And like I said, the deadline for this temporary expanded loan forgiveness is next month, October 31st, 2022. So let me share my screen so that you can see the first. It walks you through. I'm going directly to the website. Let me start off with the first one, though. Let's see. All right. So this is the Department of Education. This is from their archive press release. And this is last year, October 6, 2021. U.S. Department of Education announces transformational changes to the public service loan forgiveness program will put over 550,000 public service workers closer to loan forgiveness. Public service also includes, like, as I mentioned, nonprofit employees. And if you start your own nonprofit and is registered as a nonprofit with the IRS, it counts for you guys too, because I've gotten questions about that. Like, I started my own nonprofit. As long as you show that you have full-time, that's your full-time job, then it will count for you getting forgiveness. The press release is about the temporary extended, which allows people to have payments count that previously did not count. So it says the changes announced today, that was last year, include a limited PSLF waiver that allows all payments by student borrowers to count towards PSLF regardless of loan program or payment plan. Previously, people didn't qualify and get their loans forgiven because they didn't have the correct payment program or payment plan. What they're saying is from last year, October, to this year, October, next month, it didn't matter as long as it was a federally backed loan, you would have your payments counted towards your total 120 payments. It also automatically provides credit towards PSLF for military service members and federal employees using federal data matches, and reviewing denied PSLF applications for errors and giving borrowers the ability to have their PSLF determinations reconsidered. So if you're one of those people that previously was denied for public service loan forgiveness, you had basically from last year October to this year October to resubmit your form. And what they would do is reevaluate and see if you were eligible. If you saw my other video, we did a live with somebody personally that I know, Kiki. She actually had her loans forgiveness forgiven after previously not being eligible because she took advantage of the temporary extended. So it is possible. I know somebody personally. I'm very close to having mine forgiven as well. So I'm excited, but I'm also excited to hear about people sharing their testimony about how it worked and how the temporary extended gave them some extra credits that they previously were not entitled to because they didn't have the correct payment plan or something, something logistic that stopped them from getting it done. So that's the first thing. If you're hopping in, make sure you say hi in the chat box. Let me know if you have any questions you want me to address during this live, but I'm going to try to make it quick. Some people may be on their lunch break or on the way home watching. So I'm going to show you the next thing I'm going to show you. People always ask me this. What form do I submit for the temporary extended? And what form do you submit for the public service, like the regular one? It's the same form. So if you just type in, and I'll have the link, I actually put it in the description box, the public service loan forgiveness employer certification form, that is the form that you would use to have your employer, or if you're the employer, if you're a nonprofit, fill it out. So I want to make sure you can see it. Let's see. So it's 6 pages, but only 2 of them are the ones that you need to fill in, because the rest of it is just the instructions about where to submit it, right? So there's two pages. You fill in all your personal information, your social, date of birth, name, address, city, email. Check the box if you want to see how many payments you have left. If you think you qualify right now, check that box, because it basically puts you at the front of the line. And if you feel like you want a forbearance while they're processing, and check that box as well. So that's the first page. That's what you personally fill out. You can also help the employer by filling out some of the boxes, but the employer needs to actually have somebody who's certified to, from HR or whoever is in your organization fill it out. The employer's name, address, the federal employer identification number, the date you begin, and if you're still employed, check that box. And it has to show full-time employment on there. I want to make sure you be aware that your date that you employee began needs to exactly coincide with the HR person says for verification purposes. I say this because one year I annually certified. 1 year I made a mistake and put a date. I was off by a day, and it didn't line up with a date I previously had set. And so I got a kickback saying like this didn't match up. HR had to call in to verify like this is the correct date that she started here. So you want to make sure you get all the information correct. You might want to just leave this part blank and submit it as a fillable form you can email to your employer. It's really simple. So people, it doesn't take that long. Find out if you have more than one employer that qualify for this, find out who they are, send them this fillable PDF form, have them send it back to you, and then you can just upload it to, and I'll get to who you got to upload it to, but it really doesn't take that long. You can basically type in the box who the information is, ABC, put in the identify information, and then check whether you're still employed there. And then the official's name that's going to be certified in their signature, so they can do it digitally and then send it back to you, and then you can upload it. So I have this actual link to the temporary. This goes for the temporary extended and for the regular public service loan forgiveness form. You can actually go to the description box, have it on your computer, and send it off to whoever you need to send it off to. So that's what you would need to do if you're taking advantage of it. And you would need to do it if you want to have payments count that previously did not count. You need to have this done by October 31st. So today is September 26th. You have enough time to go ahead and get that taken care of. So that's the second thing I wanted to talk about, because I get questions about that as well, as far as what's the actual form. What's the next thing? We're going to talk about what do you need to qualify for it. So I've talked about this in other videos. If you haven't also checked it out, go to the other videos, but I'll talk about it again because I keep getting the questions. So I think we have new people here. So we're going to talk about what is the qualifications for temporary expanded public service loan forgiveness. Other than working for a government agency or nonprofit, there are other requirements that you need to have in order to have it forgiven. What happens is whatever amount is left over after whatever amount is left over, let's say you have $100,000 and you apply for loan forgiveness, you potentially could have $100,000 worth of your student loans forgiven. There's no income cap to how much you make and how much they're going to forgive. This is separate and apart from what I'm going to talk about a little later, which is the loan forgiveness that Biden announced last month, where there was a cap for income. I think you had to make less than $125,000 and it was $10,000, I believe. I'm not talking about that right now. Right now, I'm talking about the ones that have no cap. That's for public service workers and nonprofits. The whole purpose of this is to allow people who basically have dedicated their life to public service and nonprofits to have their loans forgiven. It's similar to like when people are going into the military or something. They can have assistance with going to school, right? Because they chose to sacrifice perhaps making more money in a different sector. They decide to go in the military. Everybody's not combat in the military, but they just chose to give a certain amount of their life up for the military. In exchange, the military pays for the education. Similar to that, if you decide to choose the path of public service, the government will go ahead and take care of student loans after you make a certain amount of payments, and it's working for a qualified organization. So let me share my screen so that I can show you the temporary expanded requirements, and then we can hop to the next thing. So this is directly from the Federal Student Aid. This is an official U.S. Department of Education website. So if you get information from other places, I don't want to say that, don't depend on it, but I'm going straight to the source. This is an official website of the United States government. This is talking about the temporary extended public service loan forgiveness. If some or all of your payments were not made on a qualifying repayment plan for PSLF, you may be eligible to receive loan forgiveness under a temporary opportunity. Temporary. October 31st, 2022, unless they announce something between now and then, is your deadline. So you had a whole year, but if you're the one person that waits to the last minute, now is your chance to submit your form. How do you qualify? You made all of your payments under a qualifying repayment plan for the temporary extended. You had at least 10 years of full-time employment certified by a qualifying employer and approved by Mohela. Mohela is the replacement of Fed loans. Fed loans used to be the loan servicer for the PSLF program. Fed loans contract with the federal government ended. Mohela has taken over for a loan servicer for some just regular loans, such as mine. And they actually are the loan servicer processor for the PSLF program. So previously you would have submitted your information to Fed loans. Now you actually submitted to Mohela for approval for the PSLF. All right. You met the temporary extended PSLF requirement for the amount you paid 12 months prior to applying for the temporary extended PSLF, and the last payment you made before applying for temporary extended PSLF to be at least as much as you would have paid under income-driven repayment plan, and made 125 qualifying payments under the new requirements for temporary extended PSLF while working full-time for your qualifying employer or employers. Note, at a minimum, a qualifying monthly payment is a payment that you made after October 1st, 2007, because that's when the program started. So they don't go back forever. It had to start, the payments would have to be counted from that date forward for the full amount shown as on your bill, no later than 15 days after your due date. So they are accepting late payments, but it can't be more than 15 days after, and while employed for full-time by a qualified employer. I want to make it clear that it has to be a qualified employer. And so, like I said, it can be for various teachers will qualify, workers at like a hospital, if there's a public hospital qualified, not a private hospital. So keep in mind, as I mentioned, they said you must submit your form, and I showed you the form if you want to go back to rewind it and see where that is, to have your PLS reevaluated. Be aware the temporary extended opportunity is temporary, has limited funding, and must be evaluated on a first come, first served basis. So previously, they wouldn't have counted your payments. They have some extra money in the budget. They said, okay, we'll go ahead and forgive people who even didn't qualify for certain payments, and people who have late payments, we'll forgive those too. But you have to do it by a certain time. So keep in mind, those are the particular dates. Who we got? Anybody hopping in? We got Leeds Law Firm, great info. I just shared with someone that I know that needs this. Great. Pay it forward, help people out, because you never know who this is going to help. It may help you. I try to share with everybody else. I say share your testimony. If you're one of those people that like, oh, I got it forgiven, we have some testimonials. Check out our playlist, the Everything Student Loans playlist. But I wanted to make sure that I came on here because there are certain dates that you need to be worried about. October 31st, 2022 is one of those dates. All right, I'm going to hop to the Mohela, because Mohela, as I mentioned, is the new student loan servicer, and they're going to be the ones that are processing your payments, and also they may also be the ones processing the PSLF. They actually are my new student loan processor as well, so I have to get used to them. This is their website. I have the link to that in my description box as well. And it has different things on their main homepage. Student loan debt relief plan, PSLF waiver, income-driven payment, and public service loan forgiveness account adjustment. And they're as of July 2022, they are the new official servicers for the PSLF program. And it says, welcome recently transferred borrowers. Have you recently received notification that your loans will be transferred to Mohela? Get more information about the transfer. Because what happened is Fed Loans told me that Mohela was going to be my new servicer. So when I log back into Fed Loans, it shows I had a zero balance. Doesn't mean that my loans are forgiven. It means that they got transferred over to Mohela. If you've been watching me, pay attention when I say when they're making changes, make sure you document what the balance was and your payment information was before the transfer happens. So that way, if there's any problems with the transfer from your old servicer to your new servicer, you'll have some documentation. So of course, I went through all my account notifications and basically saved to my computer so they can have a record of it. Like, this was my balance before it transferred to Mohela. These are my payments. These are the amount of PSLF payments I've had before I got transferred, so that if there's any discrepancy, I have something to stand on. And that's just the lawyer in me to say, like, you have to always prove something to people. You have some documentation. If you have Mohela as your new servicer now, be looking for emails from them. But if you haven't gotten anything yet, you can create your online Mohela account, update your information, get paperless delivery. I know I was previously enrolled with Fed Loans. I was on automatic payments. That kind of automatic payments would transfer over to Mohela so that when January 1st rolls around and repayments of the student loans start, it will automatically start as well as far as my payments. That brings me to our next thing. So for those of you who are wondering about, okay, I don't qualify because I don't work for a public service loan forgiveness. Don't work for a public service agency or nonprofit. I may qualify for that. Under $25,000 income, I get the $10,000. The Department of Education said start looking for in October for those forms that you need to fill out. I'm freezing. The forms that you need to fill out to actually apply for the $10,000 forgiveness that Biden announced last month. So be on the lookout for that in October and November. You have to fill a form out. Try to do it as soon as possible so you don't have to worry about it, taking too long to go into effect. Because if you have more than $10,000 in student loans, or if you have the Pell Grants up to $20,000 in student loans, repayment will start January 1st. That's another date you need to mark on your calendar. So you need to fill out paperwork if you need to have income-based repayment to certify your income so that you don't have the standard repayment payment. I know for those of you who had undergrad loans, the cap for whatever you have to pay has been lowered as far as the portion of your discretionary income. So that's a good thing for you. But you need to certify this before January 1st, because otherwise, if you don't certify before payments are scheduled to restart, you'll be on the standard repayment plan, and it could be a higher payment than you previously had. All right, so I'm trying to think of anything else I may have left out. Those are the dates. Let me know if I forgot anything. If you have any questions about things I've already discussed, let me just go back through my tabs to make sure I didn't forget to tell you guys anything, because the dates are October 31st for the temporary extended, October and November for applying for the regular student loan forgiveness. That's a $10,000. Mohela might be your new loan servicer, and the temporary extended could help up to 550,000 people get their loans forgiven. And like I said, this is a big difference between what Biden announced. This is available for, doesn't matter what your income is or what your student loan balance is, you can have up to 6 figures forgiven. So keep that in mind. I don't know who this. Keep that in mind. I wanted to hop on here. Tracy, be on the lookout for Tracy and I. Starting in October, we're going to be on here doing lives every day on different topics that are relevant to you. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. Hit that thumbs up button so that it pushes out to the YouTube algorithm. And we'll be on here. We'll look for information in the community tab. We're going to try to do a poll to see what you guys want to hear from us. But we're going to try to start October off with the blast. Every day, something different for the first week of October. Happy autumn, all that good stuff. So thanks for watching. If you're part of the replay gang, #replay gang, and we'll see you in the next video.